Good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5 a.m. Club. It's Thursday morning. It's a little bit overcast today, but it's warm. There's very little breeze. We've got a cruise ship heading in to dock up here at the International Passenger Terminal. And I've got a book summary to share with you today, just like I normally do on Jim's 5 a.m. Club. The book summary is a cracker, and it's written by a very, very famous author in Robert Greene. And for those who read and have been reading over the past decade, you'll be aware that Robert Greene is an author of a number of top-selling personal development books on leadership. He wrote The 48 Laws of Power. He wrote a book entitled Mastery, and he's just written so many really, really powerful, really interesting books. And the book that we're going to talk about today is one of the other books, a book that I haven't read before and a book that I haven't done a book summary on, and it's entitled The Daily Laws. So this book is all about understanding how power works, how mastery works, and how to go about living your life on a daily basis. Because at the end of the day, it's what we do on a regular basis that determines and shapes the outcomes for each day. And those outcomes, when they're added to the outcomes of previous days, end up becoming the fruits of your labor, and the compounding of these fruits become the fruit salad, become the compound outcome of what you do, say, think. And Robert Greene is one of those writers who's able to talk directly and really push the boundaries, enable us to stretch ourselves, to bend and to grow and expand through his writings. So the first element that Robert Greene talks about is that we need to embrace our strengths. We need to identify what makes you different, knowing very well that every single person is unique and very different. We are not only different from each other, the important thing to understand is that we're different for each other. And we need to fuse together these differences to become what Robert Greene calls an anomaly. So we need to use our differences. We need to use our uniqueness in order to stand out and to become a beacon, to become somebody who can use those differences to bring others together, to complement and supplement those around us. And the next point that I'd like to raise is that we are all made differently, we are all made uniquely. But the important thing to understand is that we are made in God's image, which means that we all have gifts, God-given gifts. We all have charismata in Greek, which means gifts. They are the virtues, they are the building blocks that all in total make up God and his godness. So as we said before, we're made in God's image, which means that we all have elements of what makes up God, but the difference is that we have those elements, we have those charismata in much smaller proportions. Not only do we have them in much smaller proportions, but we have them in varying proportions to each other. And hence some people are born with stronger gifts, stronger charismata, others are born with weaker ones, but it's not, our life is not based on what gifts we have, because as we said, we all have gifts, but the important thing to understand is that we all need to try and figure out how to take these ingredients and generate a recipe to make those ingredients into a masterpiece. Remembering that each of us have varying degrees of the ingredients, of the virtues of God, but what we need to do is to take the varying degree and proportions of those ingredients that we each have, and we all have different ingredients from each other, and we need to be able to mix them together, work out how to work them, work out how to mix them together to deliver and to express our unique calling or callings, because we all have roles in our life and we have multiple roles depending on the relationships that we have with each other. Now, we have a role of being a husband or a wife. We have a role of being a child or a grandchild. We have a role of being a parent or a grandparent. We have a role of being a team worker or an entrepreneur, a boss. There are very, very many roles that we play, and each of those roles depend on us bringing our gifts and figuring out, trying to work out how we can add value, how we can create value, and to make the world a better place. So the first formal point that Robert Greene comes up with is the revelation that mastery is a never-ending process. For those who don't get it, life is a continual school, a continual lesson where we're each invited to continually grow and develop and expand, to learn, to live, learn, and to teach, and to pass it on. There's no use in living a life and learning and keeping it to yourself, knowing very well that each and every person gets to only experience slithers of reality throughout their lifetime. And these slithers of reality are built by experiences. There is no doubt that we're each going to have a different past. No two people are going to experience the same life. Not only do we have a different past, but we also have a different now, a different presence, a present. I am here, you are there, you are somewhere else. And even if you were here side by side with me, you would notice things differently to what I'm noticing. I could be looking here, you could be looking over there. You could be hearing, smelling, feeling, interpreting things completely differently to what I am doing right here and now at this moment. And that's life. We all have a different life. We are all different from each other, but we are different for each other. And mastery, as this author says, is a never-ending process that must be maintained rather than attained. So you maintain mastery, but you never attain it. It's a journey that you take with a never-ending destination. You never reach your destination. You may go from port to port, but you're constantly moving, you're constantly going, and you're constantly changing, you're constantly morphing to make the most of the environment in which you're in. So the call to action here is very simple. We must embrace the fact that we need to become a lifelong learner. And in order to be a lifelong learner, in order to become a master in anything, we need to embrace and appreciate the fact that we need to become an apprentice. We need to become a student. We need to become teachable so that we can pick up and take the lessons along the way. Because what we've learnt over time is that learning is simply the process of adding the unknown to the known. And the more you know, the more you're capable of knowing. So we must become students of life, and to understand that we partake and we go on a journey that has no end, and that mastery is a journey, not a destination. It's a way of thinking, it's a way of acting, it's a thing you experience, and to embrace it and to make the most of it whilst you have the opportunities, and to understand that humans, that people, you and I, are teleological in nature, which means that we thrive on solving problems. We thrive on having challenges, and it's those challenges that enable us to grow, to gain experience, and to become different, better, bigger versions of ourselves, as long as we interpret the challenges and problems that we face with a positive mindset, with a growth mindset, with a mindset which asks, how can I use this? How can I benefit from this? How can I use this problem, this challenge, as a stepping stone to a better future for myself and my family? The next point that the author makes is one that I guess Robert Greene is known for, and that is the concept, the knowledge of power, and how to use power to your advantage. The majority of this book focuses on power, and to bring us to an understanding that power is a game that is always being played, and you need to understand that. Power is a never-ending game that is always being played, and you can do one of three things with power, according to Robert Greene. You can embrace it, ignore it, or accept it. But each of those actions has consequences that are going to impact you through your life. We are always going to be involved in a power struggle, like it or not. Whether or not you're a managing director, the Prime Minister, there's not going to ever be a day where you're not going to be struggling with power, with people trying to take away your power, with people trying to usurp your power. So it's important to understand that it is a game, and it is a constant game, a never-ending game that you will be involved with from the day you're born. So as we said before, there are three options. You can embrace it, but the author here, Robert Greene, says we mustn't be too obvious that we are embracing the game of power, because if we become too obvious and too desperate, people will find out, will figure you out, I guess is one way of saying it, and they will fight you. But if you ignore it, you will ignore it at your peril. So we need to understand that power is a game, is a powerful game, is a real game that is happening all the time to all people. And you need to embrace it, but you need to be, I guess, tactful in the way you embrace it, in the way you use it. But if you ignore it, then you will lose power, and you will face the consequences of not having the ability to determine your future. And the last point there is to accept it. You need to pick the power games that you want to play, and to make sure that you get the power where you most need it, because power is a tool. Power is a tool that you can use to leverage. Power is a tool that you can have to not only improve your life, but to improve the life and the station in life of those around you, your family. So the key message, I guess, from this author is to learn how to live with power and how to use it to your advantage. And we're not using power to other people's detriment. The reason why we become educated, the reason why we become connected, the reason why we become wealthy, the reason why we invest in ourselves is to give us a sense of power, a sense of control over our destiny, of course with God's help, to serve God and to serve others. But the reason why we become educated, powerful, wealthy, connected, is to use that power for good purposes rather than selfish purposes. So once again, the key message from this author is to not ignore it, but to channel it and to use it as a tool. The other thing that the author says in his book is that we need to take a long-term perspective and not to get caught up in tactical hell. And tactical hell from this author basically means where you're reacting to things that are going on in the world around us. You don't need to react to anything. The important thing that we need to take into consideration is that we have the capability to respond to things. We can pick and choose how we respond to the different power games that are being played around us at any point in time. By understanding your strengths, by understanding your goals, what you want to achieve, what you want to do, you can take a longer term perspective and you can think. So between stimulus and action is another thing that we can do. We can think. We can think of how it's going to impact us, because each action has first, second and third level consequences. So we mustn't overreact. We mustn't be in react mode and being pushed around by events and emotions. We need to be able to step back, is what this author is saying, and disengage from tactical hell, to zoom out, because not all battles that we think, not all battles that are thrown our way are real battles. a lot of them are battles in our own mind. They are a figment of our imagination. So the call to action from this author is to step back and to take the longer term view, and to see and to assess and to work out how to dance to the beat of the drum that is being generated in the power games that are occurring around us at any particular point in time. Anyway, there you go. We've just finished another book summary. So I think this one here is 1468 or 69, and I'm well on my way to getting to the 1500 mark in English, and hopefully we can take these lessons that we pick up on a daily basis, these life hacks, and use them to not only improve our lives, but to improve the lives of others around us. So wishing everybody a happy Thursday. I'm just going to head off now and head to work. Wishing everybody a happy Thursday, and may your day be productive. May you learn something new. May you incorporate something new into your daily schedule. Try incorporating a couple of the lessons, a couple of the life hacks that we just picked up now from this book summary, and see if it can make a difference, see if it can shape our life in a way that's going to make an impact. So it doesn't look like it's going to rain today. It's actually feeling quite nice, and we'll take it as it is. Anyway, I look forward to coming to you from a different place with a different message of empowerment, where we can go through another book summary. Don't know what tomorrow's book summary is going to be, but we'll see when it comes, because a lot of the work that I do is unscripted, unplanned, spontaneous, and that's the way that I tend to live my life. Anyway, but yeah, yasas, take care, and we'll chat again soon. Bye for now.